What I've been working on is a lot of wireless stuff over the last couple of weeks and really trying to improve like my quality of life here, as far as wireless is concerned. And also, improve the wireless bridge to my garage. And I know a lot of people are like, just run a wire, and I would love to. But also at the same time, it's been fun maintaining a wireless bridge for a long time. Like I've been doing it for 10 years plus, and it's really about the challenge, like engineering the challenge and trying to make it, a good solution over wireless. Is that an oxymoron? I don't know. You tell me. A good wireless solution. But it's been super fun to maintain, like everything going back to DDWRT to Linksys, access points or home routers, two of them linked together all the way now to what I have now, which is, I think, pretty good. So anyways, I think I'm going to keep doing this over time and keep improving the speed there. And we'll see. One day, maybe one day I will dig a trench and then everyone will say, I told you so. But it's fun. It's fun maintaining it, right? It's not super mission critical. And I'm just trying to push the limits of what I can do with wireless signals. So it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. So anyways, let's get into chat, see what you guys are working on. Let's talk about stuff. And again, if you have something you want to share, throw it in there and we will talk about it. So I'm going to start from the top. Silent Labber. Hey, how's it going? Silent Labber. Actually, there were a few more before this, but I had to clear out my chat and everyone was saying hello and I do apologize. Mr. Technician, I think this came in too before I cleared the chat. Bought my HomeLab shirt and I will, and then it got cut off. But dude, thanks for buying the HomeLab shirt. I appreciate it. I noticed Gearling bought one and he was wearing it, I think in his last video, that HomeLab University shirt. I was like, yeah, Jeff, he's got it on. It was pretty awesome. So anyways, I appreciate it. I put a lot of time and thought into those and even going into, my selection of materials. So I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it. Dude, who is that? Tech Manator. Oh, need to check my glasses. Dude, thanks for the primes. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Wow, that's awesome. But let's go. Now this is where I pick up on chat. Hey, Silent Labber says, I'm working on a gigantic virtual gaming server. 12 total gaming VMs. That is awesome. So 12 VMs. Okay, so let me think of what the architecture involved. I'm thinking Proxmox, first of all. I'm thinking that you're using Proxmox as your hypervisor. It's probably running on top of maybe all NVMe drives. I think when you get, that many virtual machines, you might need some NVMe drives or like tons of SSDs, but still, you need really high IOPS for that. 12 VMs. So either you're using an enterprise NVIDIA card and splitting it with SRIO V or you have lots of cards in there, or both, right? Or you have some consumer cards, 3 or 4, right? And then splitting those into either have 4 split into 3 or 3 split into 4. Going with 4 split into 3, but pretty awesome, man. I know craft computing's super into it. I was into it too for a little bit, at least remote gaming for one person. I know Jeff from Craft Computing's been trying to build a cloud gaming server for a long time. Super fun to follow that journey, and that's one of the first things that when I started virtualizing, I wanted to push the limits because I started asking myself like, why is video so terrible when you virtualize? This was early, Tim, not understanding the technology behind it, and I've been on a quest for a long time to improve video performance in a virtual machine. So it's super fun. It's super fun, but awesome. You have to tell me more about it. You should post it in Discord too. You should totally post it in Discord. 8,000 Canadian dollars later. It works. Ooh, man, yeah. Well, hopefully you're going to get some return on your investment. I don't know what that looks like if you're running a business or something, but hopefully you get some return on that. So, but anyways, even if you don't, hopefully you have 12 kids or 11 kids or 10 kids and you and your family can play. So, dude, I don't know what this hype chest is, but I'm going to open it up. Oh, I got a hype emote. Thank you. Oh, wow. Twitch is adding new stuff all the time. All right. Got a kitty hype emote. I like that. Hype chest on the way. I think it says another one, man. They're getting wild here. They're getting wild here and adding new stuff. So, Stigor, hey, how's it going? Hey, everyone. I finally got my Mellanox card working in Proxmox thanks to the creator of Untrusted Source. Awesome. So last week, I think you were talking about you had a 40 gigabit Mellanox card that I think you were passing through to Pi-hole, and it wasn't working. And I think we were wondering about drivers. We had a lot of questions, but dude, I'm glad you figured it out. I still want to know what Pi-hole needs with a 40 gigabit network connection, because that's wild. Dude, dude, Silent Lambert, dude, appreciate it, man. Dude, thank you so much. Your person, dude, thank you so much. 5 subs, dude. Enjoy your gifted subs, people. Rick Rollins, The Absolute Value, JS GigX, Grizzleby, and Chief Tour Mentor Office. Oh man, Chief or Mentor. I can't get it. But enjoy your gifted sub from Silent Lambert, dude. Appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. Wow, just totally destroyed my sub goal of 10. I appreciate it. Thank you. But going back to that, I'm glad you got your Mellanox card going. I still want to know what you're doing with, actually I don't want to know. I like not knowing why you need 40 gigabit to your Pi-hole, if that's still the case. But that's awesome. Dude, Silent Lambert, thanks again. Appreciate it. Yakto, hey, how's it going? Man, so we have the CEO of YWS in the house, Yakto. If you don't know Yakto, he runs, we call it Yakto Web Services. He's out there hosting a lot of stuff. He built a co-location for people, and some people host stuff there. I would love to host stuff there, but it's pretty far, and I got a pretty good deal here locally. But let's see. So I got my 45 drives HL8. Now figuring out where to put it. Going to be working on the remodel for the garage, figure out which room to put the raised floor tile and ducted AC in. I told you he's running colo out there. That is awesome. That is awesome. That's awesome. You got the HL8. I got to see an early version of it. I haven't seen the final version of it. I've been thinking about buying a white one to match my HL15. I just haven't done it yet. And that is awesome. So what you're gonna put in it? So you got the 8-bay. So I mean, yeah, 8 bays, 8 drives. No, I know what you mean. So you probably, if you're wondering what to put in it, then you probably got the chassis only. And I'm curious if you went with the RGB lighting or the vented. If you went with acrylic window or the slotted cutout, because I saw they added that too. And then if you notice, they've added Noctua fans on the outside pointing in. That was my suggestion. Because they didn't have that there. Chassis plus PSU, solid front. All right. Because when I was there and they were showing it to me, I was like, where's the intake fans? And they're like, the thermal capacity, they're basically saying like, hey, like we don't even need to pull in fans because it'll stay pretty cool in here. And I was like, and they were saying it was within range. I was like, still, you should put give it an option to put a fan pointing at the drives, pulling in through like a slot or something. And they're like, okay, yeah, I think we could do it. And I didn't hear anything about it. And then I saw when they were selling the final version, I was like, yeah, they put the fan there. Because I figured like, if you put fan holes there, screw holes there, oh yeah, the 40 millimeter fan, yeah, that's the one. Wait, 40 millimeter? I think I was suggesting 120 or something. But they added a 40 millimeter too. Awesome. Because yeah, I was telling them like, people who are going to buy this stuff like want to put fans and they want to like customize this to the max. So if you put screw holes there for fans, people are going to put it there. And whenever you have 8 drives close together, you kind of want some moving air on it, because it's one thing to have it in a cooled room all the time, but not everyone has the luxury of having a cooled room where their NAS is. So pretty awesome. Well, I hope you figure out where to put the AC and raised tile. I told you, CEO, YWS. Stigor, he even posted the steps to his site for anyone else who needs it. Oh, so going back to the 40 gigabit Mellanox. So this is a known issue. This isn't a Stigor issue. This is a known issue. So awesome. You'll have to share it. Be sure to share it, Sigor, in Discord. So I can look it up. So at least I'm informed. So if someone else asks me, I can be like, oh yeah, this guy, untrusted source, figured it out already, and here it is. So, Mr. Technician, I'm working on some freelance web dev and launching my personal website after 4 years of procrastinating. Hey man, that's awesome. So freelance web dev, that's pretty fun. I like to do some of that. And launching my own personal website. Yeah. Talk about procrastinating. I think, I think a lot of people do that. You know, they buy a domain because they have an idea or they want to squat on it for until they get to use it. And then they just never get around to using it. So I'm glad you're getting to use it. I still own a few domains that I'm just like, why do I own this? This is just like more work. You know, this is work pending to be done just by owning this domain, because behind that domain is an idea that I don't want to build. What is it? We don't build things. We don't rebuild things because we think they're easy or something. I don't know. There's some saying in there. I forget how it goes, but that's awesome. Glad you got your personal website going, and freelance web dev. That sounds pretty fun too. That sounds pretty fun. Silent Labber, hey, anyone here try the Unify UT2 yet? I got my hands on 3. I got my hands on 1 3 weeks ago. Amazing device, the UT2. I don't know what the UT2 is. I feel like I should know this. UT2. I usually don't Google and stuff on here. Unify UT2 drive. Oh, I know what it is. Yeah, so it's basically like a NAS in your pocket. Yeah, I have seen it. I've seen it on a couple channels, and I think they reached out to me a while ago. And it does look like a pretty incredible device. I mean, an easy way to add storage, I think, to most mobile devices, and then like run an NAS in your pocket. So, but I haven't seen anything about it other than like the marketing page. So that's good to know that you have it, and it's an amazing device. Because it's an interesting niche that they're trying to fill for sure. Looks awesome. At first, when I saw that, I was like, is this a Ubiquity thing? Like, I feel like I should know it. But then as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, totally know what it is. But that's awesome. You'll have to let me know how you use it. Because there are times when I do need storage on the go. There are times, where I don't have access to anything but my phone. So it's pretty interesting. Hey, Chubby Panda, I passed my AWS DevOps professional cert. Dude, we were just talking about this last week, how you said you're studying for it. And I was saying like, yeah, it would be nice if I had some cloud cert sometimes. But dude, congratulations. So you passed the AWS DevOps professional cert. Was it hard? That's what I want to know. I mean, that's all, relative to either how much you studied or how much experience you have. But good for you. That is awesome. I think getting certified in like cloud tech or even DevOps stuff, and especially AWS is pretty valuable right now. So pretty awesome. Congratulations. I'm glad you got it. Hope you're welcome. I am good. Random last couple of days with stuff in the home and water backing up and water alarms going off, but fixing it and then getting someone here to fix it. So yeah, it's been fun. And then random upgrades to technology here and there. This morning I've just been running around like looking at all access points and like trying to swap some out with review ones that I've had and that are sitting in a box. So I'm like, might as well upgrade. So anyways, Silent Labber. So going back to this device, amazing device for creators, photography, and videography. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. There's been times where, I have my phone where I might need some more storage. Like if I could record directly to that device from my phone, yeah, that is awesome, which I'm hoping you can, because that's awesome. I have a ton of space on my phone, but there are times when I do just a super long recording where I'm kind of like, hopefully I have enough space. I don't know until I get to it. So especially all the stuff I did last week for like my wireless crazy weekend. Also, do not attempt that if your family's home or your wife's home, because I took the whole network down multiple times. But awesome, I need to check it out. Like give it a good hard look and see, if it fits into my workflow. Because more and more lately, I've been doing more stuff on mobile than this camera, and I've been more on the go lately. And it'd be nice to be able to travel, take some storage with me, without taking, dongles and all kinds of stuff and a whole laptop. Who knows? Oopa, hey, how's it going? Hey, Tim, after fighting with config for the past 2 months, I finally switched to Jenkins from GitLab Runner. It's so much smoother using webhook per project. Interesting. So you went. So I assume it's Jenkins 2 because Jenkins 1 is so old, and that's my only reference point. Because when Jenkins 1, after Jenkins 1, we switched to drone at this company I worked at. But anyways, so all right, so 2 months of configuring Jenkins to get it going and switching over from GitLab runner. You're using Jenkins. That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm curious about the switch too. Curious about the switch. Just go in that direction, because I know in Jenkins now they support containers. You know, they support a lot of the stuff that GitLab supports too. So I'm curious. I wonder if it has more to do with like just experience. Like a lot of companies are running Jenkins, so using new Jenkins. Yeah, I figured you would, but my reference point is old Jenkins, and that is not a good reference point. And I know they completely redid it and allowed containers during CI, which is beautiful. That's what every CI system should do. So you don't need to install dependencies on the machine, but pretty awesome. I might have to give it a look again. It's been a while. I still have a bad taste in my mouth from Jenkins a long time ago. Not their fault. It was a point in time, right? And they've changed since then, but more plugin options now. Yeah. I have to check it out. I have to. For sure, because my runners, yeah, because like I use GitLab runners, I use GitHub Actions, so I have multiple runners, but it would be cool to just have my own dedicated CI machine that isn't tied necessarily to source control too, right? And so that's what you get from Jenkins. You're gonna get a really good CI/CD system, right, to build, deploy, manage. And with webhooks you mentioned, that can build, deploy, and do whatever to your code, run jobs, but it's not tied to source control, which is pretty cool. So, with GitLab, GitHub, it is. So you could say, hey, I don't need either of those, or I could still use them, but I'm going to do my own CI. So pretty cool. And doing your own CI, I think, is super fun. That's why I have runners in general, because I want to do it on my own hardware. Not so much for the trust, I know that most of that is isolated and stuff like that. Obviously, there is still some risk about running, builds on shared runners. But I like having my runners at home and running in my infrastructure because it's fun. And then on top of that, like there's no limits. So I could give a runner, 32 cores and 256 gigs of RAM if I want. And I don't need to worry at all about minutes on someone else's system. So pretty cool. Yeah, I got to check it out again. I need to refresh myself on there. Phantom Way, hey, how's it going? Hello, how's it going? Vidit, hey there, how's it going? Time Teskey, hey, how's it going? Lots of 24-hour streams. No, we talked about that earlier. There's no way I would die. I wouldn't die, but I'd be. I'd say about 5 a.m. is when I'd be like, oh, like I can handle up to 4, with some coffee and stuff. But when it starts getting 5, 6, 7, yeah, I'm dead. DM Cardle. Oh yeah. So how's the big monitor going? Yeah, it's actually going great. If I can do this, make sure I don't have anything private up here. If I can do this without destroying my whole entire thing, I'll show you. It's going great. So I'll tell you first, going great. I love it. I don't think I'm ever going to go back to multiple monitors. I mean, this monitor is absurd. It's absurdly big, absurdly wide, and absurdly curved. But all of those things together make it pretty good for me. And so this monitor, it's the Samsung G9 57-inch. The reason I picked this one specifically didn't have so much to do with the physical width, but more of the virtual width. And it's basically like taking 2 4K monitors and stacking them together, right? And so it's like 4K panel, 4K panel. And it's pretty cool. And you might be saying, well, why don't you just get 2 4K panels? Well, when you do that, you have the crease right in the middle, right? And so the way I look at it, and I've heard this before, it's not a novel idea for me, but some people say, hey, when you have 2 monitors, you kind of miss out in the middle, right? You lose some space because you never put content directly in the middle and kind of look at it, split. So when you go to something like this, you actually gain a monitor back, kind of, sort of. That's what they say. That's not my words. I've heard it from a lot of people, but I believe it because I don't have a crease here. So I don't have to look left. I don't have to look right. I can put a window straight on. So I'll show you anyways. It's still here. Like it's been here since the day I installed it and did my tour. Ooh, this could go bad. And this is a new camera too, but keep going. Keep going. Yeah. So it's all here. This is all that's going on. Hopefully there's nothing bad. I mean, there won't be anything bad. I just mean like secrets. But yeah, this is how big my monitor is. Going all the way to here. All the way over to here. So I'm not wired. So yeah, it's awesome. It's the same monitor that I got, it's almost been a year. It's actually almost been a year because I think I did it in, I don't know, I want to say November. It might be a year. November's my month to like buy stuff, like most people. But there's so many deals, and on top of that, I need to like spend money too. Kind of a weird thing for taxes, but I have to. Don't have to, but I can write it off. So it's a good time for me to upgrade stuff. Anyways, it's pretty awesome. I can't say any. The only downside I will say, and it's nothing to do with this monitor, it's everything to do with Mac OS. So if you use it with Mac OS, every now and then, when it goes to sleep, when it wakes back up, you can't go back into the native high resolution. You're like in some smaller resolution. And the only way to fix it is rebooting your Mac. So that's a 100% Mac thing. But if you go Windows, it is bulletproof. And you can even go, I think 120 megahertz refresh, maybe even higher. It's like insane. It is like insane on Windows and Windows 10, Windows 11. It is insane. And so, yeah, it's awesome. Anyways, I'll stop talking about the monitor you asked, but I love it. Like I can't recommend it enough. If you're ever going to get a curved monitor, the thing for me to consider for content creation and even for coding is not so much how wide it is, but how many pixels you get. And for me, again, like I needed 4K. Why do I need 4K? Well, I edit my videos in 4K. And so if I had anything less than 4K, it'd be kind of weird. And I record my screen. And so if I had something that was shorter than 4K, when I do screen recordings, it would get all weird. So I was like, this is the one for me because it's like putting two 4K monitors together, but one big panel. So anyways, I love it. If you can't tell, I love it. It's expensive. I'm not going to lie. It's the most expensive monitor I ever paid for, but the way I look at it, I'm going to have this. I mean, I've had it for 1 year now, maybe 2. I don't know. Time is hard, but I think it's 1. But I'm going to have it, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, if not more. Hey, Boomer Milko. Hey, thanks. Hey, what's up, Tim? So, Russo. Oh, I got to get this. Russo Ordo. All right, that's terrible. Hey, what's up, Tim? First time chatting live stream. Cheers. Thank you. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. The shot looks great. Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's weird. I have this. Yeah. Anyways, you're talking about the shot and the angle. I have usually I set it back more, but right now I have a huge tripod on my desk because the arm that I want to mount it on now can't hold the weight of my new camera plus my Ninja viewer plus my XLR stuff. I have a real rig now. I guess, a real rig, more than I did before. And I finally upgraded my camera after 4 or 5 years of YouTube. Been using the same camera this whole time. So, but thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, Silent Labber, I'm in the market for an OLED monitor for M2 MacBook Pro. Anyone got any amazing monitor suggestions? Yeah, now's the time to buy monitors. Now's the time for sure to buy any tech for, that's out. I wish I had a suggestion. I mean, you just heard me gush over this monitor for 5 minutes straight. So, it's great for coding too. I mean, I use it for coding on my non-Techno Tim days. So it's awesome. It's Caterus Ordo. Thank you so much, Star Wars nerd. Hey, I love it. No, Canderous Ordo. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. I just saw it. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's always hard when people don't have like camel casing or sentence or Pascal casing, I guess I should say. Because I'm like, vowels and stuff when they're together. I'm like, is that a su or a ro or? Anyways, Candace, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for telling me too, because I always feel bad when I mispronounce things, even if even phonetically I feel bad, and then I like trip on it all the time. So I appreciate you telling me how to pronounce it, because it's super helpful, more than you think. Oh yeah, randoneering. I saw that one. You blame me for my problem. All right, yeah, that's the bubbly water. Speaking of, need another. Nerdastic. Since last week, Plex up running also got Immich running after intense battle with TrueNAS Scale user permissions now beer. That is awesome. Yeah. So you're going TrueNAS Scale. You got Plex up. I remember that. And this is your first time using Plex, I think. You like went head first into you're like, yeah, Plex seems awesome. I'm gonna use it, and on top of that, TrueNAS Scale, and on top of that, Immich. So yeah, great combo right there. Great combo. So what do you get? Hey, now you have your own streaming service, and also you have your own image backup service with Immich, or more than just a backup image. More than just a backup service. I should say, really, you have a like the old Google Photos, but locally and self-hosted. So pretty awesome. We talked about that a little bit last week too. I think someone was going to do it for their kids to set it up on tablets just to back them up. So I don't think that was you, but anyways, awesome. Yeah, great combo. Those two of the biggest, I think, awesome self-hosted things out there right now too. Considering it's Black Friday deal week, do you think an AMD Ryzen 5600X, 32 gigs of RAM, and a B55 motherboard, XFX Swift RX 6600 GPU, 1 terabyte, and 750 watt PSU would be a great budget-friendly PC for long-term productivity and development projects? That's hard to know. I mean, yes. I think so. Like, just looking at the stats and not knowing much about how many threads that Ryzen 7 has, or how much L2 cache, I would say a lot of that doesn't even matter. Like, the things I guess I'm unclear of don't matter all that much. But I do think so, for sure. I do think so, because development tasks. One, you're gonna want more than one core. Probably more than 4. Maybe 8. You're kind of pushing it after that. High single core clock count could, affect stuff. Not really that big of a deal in software development. And then 1 terabyte SSD, yeah, for sure. For like bulk storage, for sure. And the motherboard, that chipset looks all fine. Power supply looks fine to me. Yeah, for sure. I would say, like, if I could make one change to that. RAM's totally fine. 32 gigs is totally fine for software development. I still use 32 gigs on one of my machines, and I bought that 5 years ago, and it still has 32 gigs. It's still fine. And I do a ton of stuff on there. The one change I would say is, hey man, just slapping a cheap NVMe, over that SSD, because that's going to get you so much. That's going to get you so much more performance, especially on boot. But if you're working with lots of local files, you're launching applications, like all the stuff you do with local storage, you want it as fast as possible. You do want, or 1 terabyte is that's I think the minimum, depending on the software development that you're doing, because you're going to install so many tools, tools and libraries and containers and all this stuff. So yeah, 1 terabyte is what I went with on my development machine. Like I said, 4 or 5 years ago, still good. When I try to mix content creation and software development, it's like, no way, because then I got, all the Adobe tools, all this stuff, temporary local cache for all this stuff. But I would say, like, if you can swap out that SSD for an NVMe SSD, I would do that, because you're going to get performance gains all around, and it seems like now, the biggest bottleneck, it seems like, for, I don't know, the last couple of years, maybe 5, is always storage now. CPUs can handle anything you can throw at them. AI is changing stuff a little bit too, right? But for a while, we haven't had bottlenecks, and the only bottlenecks was, as fast as the drive can read and write. And so I think that'd be a good one. I think that, especially with Black Friday deals, I'm sure you'll find something relatively affordable, even if not. But I think it's good. Let's see. Lots of Tims. LOL. Yeah, Tim. Oh yeah, Tim Teskey. Hey, yeah, that is lots of Tims. It's funny. You know. I mean, obviously my name is Tim, but Tim is a common name. But I don't meet a lot of people who also share the name as me. Like when you hear Tim or Timothy, you're like, yeah, that's you know, of course there are people named Tim. But I don't meet a lot of those people. I mean, for me, it's kind of rare. Actually, one time I went to this dinner thing and 3 people were named Tim. I'm like, whoa, there's way too many Tims. We're going to have like a dance off or something because there are too many Tims here. But yeah, it's for me, it's like, it's a common name, but I rarely hear of someone else like that is also named Tim that is like physically, you know, by me or whatever. So, but not like Steve, Aaron, Marks. I don't know. Maybe that's a Minnesota thing. I feel like there are so many Steves and Aarons and Marks in Minnesota. It's like, oh my gosh, which Mark, you know? Let's see. Sub messages. All right, I gotta. These are new. I gotta change those. Sup nerds, Bill Nash. How's it going? Good to see you. Wait, I thought Techno was my first name. Yeah, my last name is Tim. Yeah, It's funny you say that because that was my name for about 3 years straight in college because I got the nickname from someone who lived by me in the dorms, and because I played electronic music, and he called me Techno. Or sorry, everyone called, you know, electronic music back then Techno. And so then one day he called me Techno Tim and it stuck, but then people didn't want to say the whole thing. So they called me Techno. So for 3 years, like that was my name. Like I would respond to it. Like no joke. Like that's what people called me. So yeah, that's how I got the name actually. And then it kind of fit with technology. And then that was kind of my gamer handle too. And then on Twitch. And then I was like, I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. Laxing over. Have you considering, here we go. Have you considering publish Techno Tim's Talk as an audio-only podcast? I'm currently using PodSync to turn the channel into a podcast feed that can use with my podcast player, but would prefer to give you direct listens view. Hey, thanks. Laxing over, LAXN over. Yes, actually, yes. It's funny you mentioned that because 2 weeks ago, I just started looking into like Spotify and Spotify podcasts and just trying to do something super low effort because I already put the time into this stream. Plus, I put the time into getting it over to Techno Tim Talks. But I was thinking like, hey, in this workflow, can I also publish it somewhere that's audio only? I was looking in this, you know, Spotify audio, you know, they just changed the name of it. Anyways, Spotify has a place where I can do it. I was thinking about putting it there. I know that it's also on YouTube as a podcast, and you can subscribe, but I don't think you can do the audio only unless you pay more. I don't know what YouTube's doing. So, anyways, yeah, it's definitely on my radar. And then I just got an email from Spotify. I don't know this week. Saying that they renamed this program to create a program or anything. Anyways, yeah, that's on my short list of things to kind of do while I have a little bit more time around the holidays. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for the nudge too. Cause when people ask for things that I'm kind of thinking of, it's validation. Even if it's anecdotal, it's like validation that I'm kind of like on the right track that maybe someone will want that. So yeah, I'd love to. And then I got to figure out like, what do I do with back catalog stuff? I probably won't. Probably only, I don't know, a couple. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. That's good feedback because I'm definitely going to do it. Definitely going to do it now. Vinny, hey, congrats on 10K subs. So yeah, so on my second, it's technically my third channel, but I'm not going to say that. It sounds better as my second. The third is kind of like, what is this guy doing? He hasn't figured it out yet. But I'm on my second channel, the Techno Tim Tinkers ones. Yeah, he just hit 10K subs. It's pretty awesome. It's kind of my junk drawer. It's kind of my junk drawer channel, and not that they mean any less. It's just things that aren't algorithm friendly. And I won't go too far into YouTube algorithm and how they plot you out, but YouTube does. YouTube basically kind of forces you to pigeonhole yourself. You start out niche because it's great and because you like what you're doing, and then you hopefully grow the niche. But then if you stop doing the niche, YouTube's like, oh hey, and I get it. Like people subscribe to you for the thing you're doing, right? And when you start to do new things, YouTube's kind of like, well, we're going to experiment and see if these people that liked your old stuff like your new stuff. And so, but they're going to do that, they're going to do it very sparingly and only to a select few people and just kind of see how it does. And so, yeah, anyways, YouTube algorithm forces you to pigeonhole yourself until you get too big to where you can't. And I'm nowhere near that. So anyways, long story short, that's why I created that channel. And yeah, I just hit 10,000 subs on that channel. So it's pretty fun. Anyways, yeah, it's where I put stuff that doesn't fit into the algorithm because I do stuff that's fun. I consider fun, and I just need another outlet. So it's not only going to be HomeLab stuff, but it's just like, I don't know, me playing with technology stuff. So, but yeah, it's fun. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see, Nerd. Broke my Proxmox host. Oh man, virtual machines run fine, but the web UI and its SSH dies after an hour or so. No GPU in the machine, so I might need more beer. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that sucks. To put it frank, it stinks when something happens to Proxmox and you lose your web GUI, because then you're like, oh man, it's just me and Debian CLI stuff using Proxmox commands, PVE commands, all day to try to figure out what's going wrong. I had it happen once. I can't remember what it was. Oh, yeah, I got into a weird situation where I was passing through like my video card to a virtual machine, and it was on the host machine, and it was like messing everything up, and I couldn't start Proxmox fast enough to then stop the machine from booting itself. I mean, I figured out how to do it in the meantime, right? You can edit those text files and all that for the machines. But at the time, I was like, dude, I just totally hosed my Proxmox server. But you'll figure it out. I know you'll figure it out for sure. Silent Labber, Twitch Whales. What? Oh, let's see. Noor Mohammed. Hey, yeah, you again. Hey, how's it going? Right now I'm working on a server which can handle a Jellyfin server with hardware encode, decode. Awesome. It should be able to handle at least 10 to 15 1080p streams and 4 to 5 4K streams. I'm seeing a mini PC with Ryzen 7840HS with 780M Radeon. Let's see how it goes. Any suggestions? Yeah, so first of all, a couple things. Yeah, welcome back. I remember last week we were talking about your HomeLab, and you were saying like, hey, it's not much. And I was like, hey, it's not about what the hardware is, it's about what you do with it. It was pretty much the gist. So, hey, Mohammed, good to see you again. What do I think? So right now you're working on a server. I think that's great. I'm on my Plex server, as long as I have 2 or 3, I'm usually pretty good, and so you're gonna have a lot of transcoding going on, it sounds like. But then you're seeing a mini PC with the Ryzen. This one's tough because I don't know. I mean, from what I've seen with Plex, things work great with NVIDIA and Intel, right? And I'm not saying they don't work with Ryzen or anything like that, but you just have a lot better support with drivers and stuff like that, and transcoding. Sure, it works fine on AMD too. So I can't really comment. That's one of the few things I guess I haven't done is testing AMD hardware with Plex. I'm sure it works totally fine. So yeah, mini PCs, I will say the mini PCs that I have, I bought a B-Link, and then I bought a B-Link and gave it to my dad, and I specifically bought one with Intel because they have QuickSync, and in those tiny PCs. I was able to transcode. I think I was up to, I can't remember. I did a video on it, but I was up to like 10 or 11. Oh, no, not on my B-Link. That was just on my, that was on my Core i3, 14th gen. So anyways, I more than 4 or 5. So, and they're like a couple $100. So anyways, it's hard for me to know without doing it. I would just, obviously look it up, see how many concurrent streams people are getting with that GPU that's on there, or the APU that's on the AMD board, and I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's more than fine. Like Plex isn't going to leave those users out to dry, It's just I haven't tested it before. But I think it sounds awesome though. It sounds awesome. I love providing services for people, especially like streaming stuff. So it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Let's see. Oh, hey, dude, lights are flashing. Oh, that's the other thing too. If you're like, why are the lights flashing in there? When people sub or bits, the lights flash. So that's something else I rigged up, and it's going through Home Assistant. It's funny. My code calls Home Assistant to make my lights flash in here for, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds, and then turns them off. So and on top of that, it's like, yeah, it's crazy. Let's just put it that way. It's been years of coding this thing up, and I feel like it's finally kind of solid. The pivotal moment was moving to Home Assistant to drive these automations versus writing the code myself, because that didn't work out so well. But the code I wrote myself still tells Home Assistant to do it. But I was in a situation where I was like writing the code to tell the hardware to do it, and then I was writing the service to tell the code to tell the hardware to do it. So I basically run microservices at my home. Oh, it's wild here. But dude, thank you so much. Let me see. Hey, ACP333 sub with Prime. Dude, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for your Prime sub. Appreciate it. But anyways, Mohammed, you got this. It's going to work fine. I would do your research, though, before you buy it. Just Google that APU or that GPU that's on the boards. See if people have had issues. You're most likely going to land on something on Reddit, and someone's going to tell you it works great, I'm optimistic about it. But Vidit, Tim, if you're interested I have a Connect X5 card from Mellanox to spare if you need or want to test. Dude, I appreciate it. Thank you. I don't have anything that even supports 40 gig. I think the highest I have is 24 gig on my Switch Aggregation Pro. So I have an aggregation switch that has, I think 24 10 gig SFP Plus ports, and that has dual 25 gig. It's 100 gig? Oh my gosh. I got nothing. I can't connect anything to it. It sounds like I would go broke. Because in order to use that, then it's like, okay, well, now I need a switch that has 100 gig, at least one, and then I need to buy cards that have it. But, oh man, the 100 gig, yeah, switch from MikroTik or MikroTik should support it. Yeah, for sure. Man, but that's buying stuff. Anyways, I would love to. And it's cascading though, right? Because, it's one thing to have the network bandwidth, and it's another thing to do something with it. So outside of doing iPerf 3 checks, tests, then I'd have to have drives that can write fast enough for it. Maybe an NVMe could, or a couple. It sounds like a fun experiment for sure. I know Brett from Radal did a lot of experimenting with this, and he even got to SMB 3-ish? I forget what it was. Some special version of SMB3 where he could do stuff in aggregate to get the throughput that he wanted. So yeah, I might have to check it out someday. I'm lowly 10 gig, 25 gig. And hey, I just got on 10 gig not too long ago. So, but anyways, yeah, my backbone switch is my Switch Ag Pro. It has 24 SFP Plus ports. It has 225 gig uplinks. And then downstream from that is my Switch. It's a 48 port PoE switch that are all 2.5 gigabit. So it's pretty awesome. So it's all PoE, all 2.5 gigabit. So I love it because I'm just like, I don't care what I plug into it. It's going to be fast enough and it's going to have power if it needs it. I specifically bought it because I was tired of looking and figuring out which port supported PoE and which didn't. It sounds lazy, but it's for real. Because I have a ton of PoE stuff. Oh, sorry, that's a conversation. Avalanche, Mr. Hey, trying to set up HiveOS on Proxmox and running into issues getting my NVIDIA mining GPU driver not loading even though it says it's installed. So I don't know HiveOS, but I'm glad you said it's for mining. I don't know. So there's a couple things, obviously you can try to make sure HiveOS, I am assuming is based on Linux. So you could do LSBLK, look for your device, see if the device is detected and it's passed through properly. And then you could look into the drivers, see if the drivers are loaded. That's kind of the path I go down. I sometimes will even start for the basics. One, does the host see it? Does Proxmox see it itself and run that LSBLK command to see what hardware is attached? Yes, it sees it. Cool. Then it, is it passed through the VM? In Proxmox? Yes. Cool. Okay. Go into the VM, check to see if the VM is recognizing that the hardware is plugged in. Yes, it is. Okay, now let's look to see if the driver is getting successfully loaded. I bet it's saying no there. I'm going to say it's a no there, and that's what's going on. The driver probably isn't getting loaded, and that's what I would go after is like, okay, well, verified everything else in the chain. It's at the lowest level. It's something with the OS, and let's get this driver going. And it could be just as simple as loading a newer or different driver. So I hope you get it. It's one of the joys, great joys of home labbing. There are a few of them. Passing through a GPU, high on the list. Getting, certificates internally trusted, high on the list. Getting a reverse proxy, high on the list. So GPU's up there, and that was one of my first huge challenges. And after that, after you get it, it feels good. So, and worst case scenario, since it's Proxmox anyways, spin up another virtual machine that's not Hive OS. If you're really like, dude, I can't figure out what's going on, spin up a quick Windows VM or Ubuntu VM or whatever, some other VM. Shut the other one down, pass the card through to there. Do you see it? Does it have the same error? And then you're kind of like, okay, well, if these both have the same problem, then it's something to do with it getting, loaded. But yeah, that's what I would do. That's kind of where my thought process is of back to the basics. Start from the top, work your way down. Because if there's a chain of things happening and problems, it might be a red herring, right? You're seeing the side effect of something. That doesn't really matter because two things upstream, might not be right. So, anyways, that's how my brain works. Chassis Plus. Oh yeah. So this is going back to YWS. They added 40 millimeter up front too. Oh yeah. So the HLA. Yeah. Awesome, man. I read that too. Going a little long today because I was a little late. Real quick, let me get caught up on follows really quick. Leojin, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Trav GM, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. And Canderous, Ordo, again, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Rafalik, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. So I'm on the fence. Dude, Modest Tim, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Resub, 17 months, tier 1. Thank you so much. Not a follow, but happy Saturday. Hey, I appreciate the resub. Man. 27 months, 1 year, I got to do maths, 1 year, 3 months. So 1.25 years. Is that right? Yeah, I think. Anyways, dude, thank you so much. How's it going, man? I think you moved to Florida, I think. Maybe you moved to Florida or from Florida. I think it's to Florida. I don't know, but hopefully it's going well. Oh, yeah, you got it right. Yeah, I had to, sorry, 2.25, yeah. You're right, man. You got me. Totally. Move to Florida. All right. I thought I remembered that. Dude, appreciate it, man. Hope you're doing good. Hopefully it's, it's winter. So it's, getting to winter. So it's going to be cooling off down there. And hopefully you survived everything with multiple hurricanes, man. Let's see. Oh, so sorry. Going back to ACP. So I'm on the fence about the HL8. If I did get one, it would be in a location with poor airflow. Yeah, so that's going back to why I was saying, like, hey, they got to put fans on these things, even if the thermal profile is fine, in a vacuum, in a place that's cooled. Yeah, that's kind of why I was like, you got to put fans on here. And so, I don't know, I think it's a product manager or product engineering. I was talking to him, and he's like, all right, we will. And I didn't hear anything back, and then I saw it, and I was like, awesome, they put fans on there. Well, maybe they had it. Well, he made it seem like they didn't. I don't know. I like to think that was my contribution to it. But let's see. The absolute value. I like it. The absolute value. Happy weekend. Nubbed to Proxmox and really been enjoying it, but running out of resources on the mini PCs. Yeah, yep, I bet. It's on. I bet you have the video on how to do this, but you're live. How do you easy? I like it. I like the live questions. Because it gives me something to do. But I love live questions, especially when they're technical things. How easy it is to set up a second instance, and does Proxmox balance resources between two devices depending on its load, or is it strictly machine-based? I like it. Thank you for your thanks for your resources, Tim. Always helpful. Yeah. So a couple things. One, you have a Proxmox machine running out of resources. What do you do? And you already thought, well, I'm gonna just run another machine. And you can run another machine, but you're really getting two different machines, right? You can't share resources between those two. It just becomes another machine. Now you can you can actually with two. You can actually, what am I, dude, Salvaris, dude, hi, how's it going, man? Dude, 10 gifted subs, man. Thank you, appreciate it, man. Salvaris, how's it going, man? Good to see you. You do too much already. Oh my gosh, 10. Dude, I'm going with Demon, I can't do it. Thibaut, Christopher, the Zunster, Magnus 02 Rollers, Way Warden, Trito, Blizzbub, and Fister-X. Enjoy your gifted sub from Salvaris. How's it going, man? Thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. You do too much already. Dude, thank you. But going back into your, I hope you're well. I hope you're well too, Salvaris. I know you are. And yeah, thanks for the offer on bringing a ratcheting drill. Hammer drill. Wait, hammer. Oh, I don't remember. The drill that helps me drill through cement. Thanks for the offer. I totally need to buy one at some point. I've just kind of been like, I've been okay with just a normal drill. I can put some elbow grease into this and ruin drill bits. So, but I appreciate it, man. But going back to this question about, hey, I'm running out of resources on Proxmox. What can I do? And so you've already figured out one of the things you can do, which is scale horizontally. So there's scale vertically, right? Stack more resources in this one thing, but you have a mini PC. So now you're going to scale horizontally by adding another one. And so when you add another one, you can actually join it to a cluster. I think that the way it works with two nodes, and I ran this for years, is that one node gets 2 votes. And why is that important? Well, once you go into HA mode, you want to have quorum. And that's basically a voting system. It's a voting algorithm to figure out who's the leader, right? So if something goes down, hey, you're in charge of the state of Proxmox right now. And if I come back up, I may or may not become the leader again. And so when you have 2, that's weird for quorum. But I think the way that it works on Proxmox is one node gets 2 votes. So anyways, that aside, so when you do 2, you can run them in a cluster, but really what that's going to give you is just a couple of things, but they're nice. I did this for many years. It's going to give you one single pane of glass to look at the 2 machines, right? So when you go to whatever, Proxmox, myproxmoxserver.com, don't go there, or I might buy it. There's another project. When I go to, whatever, myproxmoxserver.com, you're going to see both of your nodes there. And so you're going to have a data center view, which you already have, which makes no sense when you have one. But once you have 2, it starts to make sense. And then so you'll be able to, manage the resources that way. I've done this for a long time because 1, single pane of glass. 2, it lets you easily migrate machines back and forth to each other. That is if you have a network share setup, right? So if you have an NFS share or you have a backup system, it's super easy to say shut down, back up, or offline migrate to the other system. And you do it, click it, a couple minutes later, depending on how fast your network and machines are, boom, it's over there. So, you're not going to get any kind of shared resources. That's kind of up to you to manage. You will, though, if you rent with a true HA system, in a production grade, you could run some shared storage where these machines live to where those machines are their storage is synchronized. So you could have high availability VMs. And so what that means is, hey, remember when we were talking about the quorum scenario? You have 3 servers up. One of your virtual machines is here, but it's synchronized to all 3's storage backend. So if this one went down, it could easily spin it up over here. And, with a tiny bit of downtime, it would be back up. And so, but that's pretty advanced. I haven't even done it. I haven't even done HA Proxmox because I have a different approach for doing things. I run HA services, and so I'm like, I don't need HA Proxmox, even though it makes a ton of sense. I put the complexity on myself to run like HA Proxy in HA mode. So anyways, dude, thank you so much, dude. M. Scott Mac. Hey, thanks for the prime sub. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anyways, long story short, that's what I do. So the simplest approach is run another one, create a cluster, even though you only have 2, then you'll see 2 machines. Then you can migrate your machines over easily. That's super easy. That's an easy approach. But yeah, that's an easy approach to do it because then you don't have to like build a second machine and do all this weird stuff. I mean, you have to build the second machine, but you don't have to go through and set up all the settings, all the shares, and all the stuff again. But long story short, that was a long answer to that. You can't balance resources. You really, that's the dream. That is the dream. So what you're describing is the dream. That is what I thought Metal as a Service was when I first heard it. Was shared resources. Was like, hey, give me 5 machines, all bare metal, make a cluster, put things wherever you want, and let me share resources. Gets kind of weird if it would fall in between 2 machines, but that's what I wanted. I wanted not falling in between 2 machines, but I basically wanted Kubernetes for virtual machines, right? That's kind of what Kubernetes does. You give it a big pool of machines, and you say, I want 3 of these, I want 4 of these, I want 10 of these, I want 1 of these, I want 25 of these, I want 200 of these, go. And that's what Kubernetes does. It's like, it's basically like Tetris. It's like, okay, you could fit here, I could fit a couple of you over here, I could fit a couple of you over here, done. And so that's what, when I heard Metal as a Service, MAS, in which it's not that, I thought that that's what it was. And so that'd be a cool world to live in, with Proxmox, where it's like, okay, just, basically, be declarative, but at the same time, tell it you want these things, but I don't care where you put them. Just fit them somewhere. And that's the Kubernetes way right there. And I think you can maybe kind of do that with Vert.io, or not Vert.io. I forget what it's called, but there's a KubeVirt. I don't know if it does that specifically. I think it just gives you the ability to declare what your virtual machines are in Kubernetes. But we're not talking about Kubernetes. There's a lot of Kubernetes stuff. But anyways, that's what I do. But if you go 2 Proxmox machines, I guarantee at some point you'll go 3. Or you'll do what I did, and then you'll say, well, instead of 2 little ones, I just want 1 big one. And then you go back that way. You swing back, and then you'll stack, you'll scale vertically. You'll say, oh, I'd rather have 1 big machine than 2 on. Then you outgrow that, and then you say, well, I might as well mirror this 1 big machine and get another one. Yeah, and then you're like me and have 3 big machines with them all on all at the same time. So it's pretty fun. Silent Labber, I'm up to 222 racks. I'm out of control. Yeah. Hey, you have more than me. I have 132. Oh, maybe we might be close. I have 132 in my server room. AKA the grow room. And then I have I think it's 12 right here. Then I have a 12U in here. I forget how many U's it has because I'm only using a tiny bit until here in a couple of weeks. So I have a 12, 32. That gives me what? 34. You're at 44. Oh, and in the garage, I have a 6U. So garage. Here in the studio, I have a server rack just because it's super easy to put stuff in there and keep it all in one spot. Yeah, so man, you've got a lot. You've got a lot. And honestly, I could probably get my 32 down a little bit smaller, but I have like NASs in there for testing, and it's like, well, they're rack mount. Where else am I going to put them? So yeah, that's right. Yeah, Yakto. YWS says, that's how I started, and 642U racks later. Yeah, for sure. HomeLabbers Anonymous. We should start one. I kind of feel like that's how it goes. So, Cantorus, I've been trying to get an open fabric cluster going on my PVE using FRR. Cool. Between my 2 MSO1s, Thunderbolt, and M720Q crossover 2.5 gigabit. Hodgepodge, I know, but I can't justify buying another MSO1. The MSO1s communicate directly just fine, but I can't seem to get the M720Q able to communicate over the Open Fabric network. This sounds awesome. So basically, like, so you want to do networking, I think, over Thunderbolt, right? And take advantage of that high-speed networking, and have that be like your data plane for synchronization, probably for Ceph. I'm just making this up, but I assume that's what you're doing. That sounds awesome. I honestly wish I could get, 3 MSO1s to do that and play with it. I know Jim's Garage has. I think he has 3. I think Jim from Jim's Garage has 3. And it sounds so awesome. I would love to have just like 3 dedicated machines like that. Although I do have my I do have my Intel NUCs, and I think they have Thunderbolt. But the challenge is like I don't have fast enough storage. I don't have enough storage to be able to sync Ceph across them all. So, anyways, I hope you figure it out. I wish I knew more. I wish I knew more about Fabric. So, but it sounds awesome. It doesn't matter if it's hodgepodge. It's totally fine. That's how it goes. Like, you know, you have you have a HomeLab, and then you buy one awesome thing, and then like, hey, it just kind of sticks out, but it's your awesome thing on top of the other stuff you have, and it'll happen. As long as you're HomeLabbing, that'll happen. You'll get one thing, it's better than the rest, and it sounds like a hodgepodge, but no, it's just how it is. And it gets really expensive to buy 3 MSO1s, fully kitted out, like to do fun stuff and testing. So no, that's what it's all labbing. That's what it's all about. And actually, I just finished the week ago setup of my cluster with 3 HP Elite Desk Minis with i95-100Ts, 32 gigabytes each, Ceph, HA, etc. Speaking of Ceph, it's amazing. Made my Home Assistant high available, by using PoE Zigbee and EP32 Bluetooth proxies. That is awesome. That is awesome. Okay, so I got you. So you on your Proxmox cluster. Yeah. So got you. So you have Proxmox cluster, set up Ceph, and this is going into what we were just talking about high availability virtual machines. So then since you have an HA cluster, and Ceph going, and your storage syncing with all 3 of those machines, then you get high availability virtual machines, which is awesome because then you just basically make anything high availability just by running it on one of them. And so, even if you ran an LXC, and that's what's cool about doing a high availability virtual machine or LXC on Proxmox is, like, you can't get that with Kubernetes, right? And how do I say this? Like Home Assistant is very stateful, and it's only meant to run one copy, right? And so running in Kubernetes only gets you so far. You can't run 2 copies because you can't have 2 copies of Home Assistant running because the database is inside of each one, and you'll run into split brain scenarios. So even when I ran it in Kubernetes, I could only run 1 copy, which was kind of okay, and it worked. And Kubernetes, if it was down for long enough, it would spin it up somewhere else. But you don't have to have a super complex setup like that. You can run Proxmox and run them in a cluster and get Ceph going to where you can run that one virtual machine. And if that's Ceph node or that Proxmox node goes down, boom, it's up on another one. But you gotta have fast storage, and you gotta have fast networking too. So that is awesome. Yeah, that is awesome. So now you have high availability Home Assistant, which is awesome. I don't even have HA Home Assistant. I did for a little bit, in Kubernetes, but I felt like it was down more than it was up. So because of Kubernetes. So that is awesome. And then made my Home Assistant high availability by using PoE Zigbee and ESP Bluetooth proxies. That is cool. So using external hardware, using external hardware so that it doesn't matter where that machine spun up. That is awesome. I did this. I did the same thing with my Zigbee controller. I bought a PoE Zigbee controller, and it can be used as a Bluetooth proxy too. I think I can toggle between the two. I'm not an expert when it comes into ESP32 stuff. Like when I say that, I'm like, I barely kind of know what that means. I kind of do, but when it comes into SBCs outside of hey, Raspberry Pi and things like that, I just haven't been into like a lot of IoT microchip stuff. Anyways, that aside, I did though buy the Zigbee controller that's PoE, and it's Zigbee over IP, so that same thing. Like I don't need a Zigbee USB dongle plugged into the machine. It does it over the network, so now I can put it anywhere I want. And I think that's what you have to start doing if you want to go HA, Home Assistant. You have to say, okay, well, I can't have any physical hardware plugged in to this machine at all unless I'm going to have that hardware on every single machine that it could spin up on. That was also the challenge with Kubernetes, and that's why I went to it. Because if I had a 3-node Kubernetes and I needed a Zigbee dongle plugged in to one, that means that that service could only run on that one machine. So your options are, okay, well, standardize all of the machines and put Zigbee dongles in all of them, which is expensive. Not out of the question though. Or, or you buy something that does it over IP, and then whenever it comes up, it can communicate with it. So yeah, it's super fun. It's super fun. I have the same as your long one as a magic stick. Yeah, that thing is long. It is like a magic wand. Like I felt like a conductor when I had it, but it's super fun. With Home Assistant, I was stuck first with USB devices. Yeah, that stops me from making a high availability. Yeah, exactly what I was talking about. But PoE Zigbee solved it. Exactly. That's exactly. We're on the same page. That's exactly why I did it. And it's pretty cool. I would do everything over 1 PoE, 2 over IP if I could, Can I have a hard drive over IP? Yes, please. Yeah, NAS will kind of get you there, but give me a hard drive I can just plug in as PoE and it's, give me a SSD that's, PoE powered and has IP built in, and I'll be pretty good. But yeah, I love PoE stuff. When I first got into tech support a long time ago, I just thought it was magic. There were a few things I thought were magic. One was pixie booting, which is actual magic. It's actual magic to wake machines up over the LAN. And then another one was just PoE in general, powering things over the two cables in the network, twisted pair that aren't used, or they're used for power. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, so those are two things I was just like, man, this is awesome. If I ever get that at home, like I have made it. And so, yeah, newsflash, I guess I made it according to my standard from 20 years ago. Oh man. Hey y'all, it's getting late. It is dark outside, but that's how it goes when it's near winter. Let me just look to see if there's, I hate to do this. I always hate skipping over, Actually, I just clicked on this one, so I might as well read it. Silent Labber, this is going back to what were we talking? I'm up to 22 URACs, and then you say each meeting is just browsing eBay listings, showing you how to resist purchases. Yeah, it is, and it gets really hard when other people talk about stuff too, and then you're like, ooh, what is this? Ooh, should I know about this? Or just like we were talking about that UF2 drive, I think earlier. I'm like, oh, it's back in my. It's almost like I how browsers cookie you, and then you get that ad like 8 times, 8 different places, and then they have studies behind it before they know like how many times they have to show it before someone will end up buying it. But that's how it is. Talking about HomeLab stuff, you're like, oh yeah, that one thing I saw. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you have that, don't you? It's like it's like cookies in real life. People talking about tech that you're interested in. You're like, okay, I heard about it 5 times now. Now I got to really look at it and decide if that's what I'm gonna buy. So, anyways, y'all, man, thank you all so much, man. What a awesome stream. I do apologize. There were so many. Here's the last one I'm clicking on. Owen, Wolvers Rice. I gotta get this one right. Oh, see how I said, you see how I was saying it's so hard to read names sometimes, but this is Owen, loves rice. I love rice too. And so I hope that does say love rice at all. Like I love rice. That's my comfort food. Like my wife knows, like pot of rice and I'm good. Yeah, I anytime. My wife almost every night is just like, well, what do you want with rice tonight? Anyways, this weekend I'm playing with Home Assistant and their voice assistant pipeline with View Assist and HAS mic integrations to use an Android tablets as a voice assistant satellite. That is awesome. I have a buddy too who's getting really into having his own personal assistant in Home Assistant for voice. And it's really awesome. I got some. So I got something running. If you ever look at my AI stack, that I'm not using that in particular, and I'm not using satellite microphones. But what I am using, I have this running now, is I have Home Assistant tapped into Llama I'm using Ollama for LLM. And so now my Home Assistant voice and chat, so my assistant in Home Assistant is enhanced with an LLM, which means now I can tell it natural things. And I can do it from my phone. You know, I got to open the app and press the button, or I can type it in. But now I can tell Home Assistant to do things. And well, I don't know if they lifted that restriction yet. But anyways, Home Assistant now understands me. And one quick example, like when I think I did it in the video, playing around, but I was like, you know, ask the regular Home Assistant, you know, the chatbot, you know, how many lights do I have on? And it's like, I don't understand lights. I don't understand what room that is or something, you know, didn't make sense. But as soon as I turned Llama on with Ollama, because I haven't integrated now, I asked the same question. It's like, you have 43 lights, 12 of which are on right now, you know, and 31 of which are off. And I was like, oh, that is so awesome. So yeah, I'm excited for all this. I'm excited for all this that's coming to Home Assistant. I'm so glad that they keep up on the technology, and I'm so glad that so many people are excited about it, and it just keeps coming up more and more. I mean, it just saved my basement yesterday. I was just saying on X, and I got to say Twitter still. Now that one almost came out naturally. I was just saying on Twitter, X. Anyways, it kind of saved my basement. I had some water backup, and I didn't know. The Home Assistant sent me an alert saying water detected in the basement by the laundry. I'm like, yeah, that's not good, because like the shower is running and washing, you know, whatever. I was just like, okay, you know, like anytime you hear water as a homeowner, you're like, oh my gosh, like make it stop, you know? So I ran down there and I noticed that, our drain was backing up. And so really quickly, I was able to just like turn off the water and stop the water coming from everywhere so that the drain wasn't backing up. And Home Assistant totally saved it. It was like, you know, within 30 seconds, I was able to run downstairs. Had I not known, oh man, that would have been really bad, really bad. I mean, we have a lot of our stuff up on shelves, but you forget over time to keep putting stuff up on shelves. So, you know, workout mats and stuff would have been all gross. So anyways, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Home Assistant. I actually have some more, two ideas, videos coming out for Home Assistant that I think are pretty cool. And one is just like helping people accept it a little bit more. So, and the other is just how I use it, because so many people ask how I use it. And I use it in weird ways. But again, like anytime you ask someone how they use something, you learn, you get ideas. And so hopefully this will inspire people to do more with Home Assistant, because I'm barely scratching the surface, and I probably have 80 devices in there. You know, I wrote code against the API myself to switch the lights inside of here and all other kinds of things I have it hooked into. So, and I love it. It's great. So. Anyways, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. Wow, I went a little bit over. Thank you. I appreciate it. There were lots of people talking. I do apologize if I skipped over your message. Always at the end, it can get like this if there are tons of messages. I apologize. If there's something you want to ask from me directly, I'm all for it. You could ping me in Discord. That's totally fine. You can ping me anywhere on any social media. That's totally fine. I'll try to get back to you. If you do share in Discord, it's great because you'll get other opinions besides my own. But if you want my specific opinion, I'm happy to give it. I'm always happy to give my opinion. And if you're not in our Discord, you should absolutely join. It's 10,000 members, I want to say, and we're partnered. So yeah, pretty laid back, pretty chilled. Everyone's super nice, and a lot of HomeLab, a lot of tech content, and a lot of other things too. Super loping. It's pretty awesome. A lot of nice people. So if you want to join, just Google Techno Tim Discord or use ! Discord right now, and it'll give you a link. And then I will be back here next week. So next week, Saturday, is the Saturday following Thanksgiving. Yes, I will be here. So I'll be back here same time, 3 Central, so 3 Chicago time. I will be back. And also, thank you so much. There were subs, there was resubs, there was gifted subs. Man, thank you guys all so much. It's too much. It was a lot. So I appreciate it. Thank you. It helps pay the bills, and it helps me buy cool stuff to talk about it and do more things. So it 100% goes into Techno Tim, quote unquote, my LLC. So I really appreciate it. But Never required, but always appreciated. And thank you. There was tons of follows too. Great stream. Lots of people. A lot of good topics. I appreciate it. Again, like chatting is it's so nice to have people in here chatting because it gives me so many ideas. And I can remember there was a day when I had only one viewer in my chat, and it was actually me on Firefox, trying to trick people into think there was at least one person watching me. So I appreciate it. I'm super humbled by the people that show up and like to talk about things that no one understands when I talk about them. So it's really interesting to think about that. Like, you know, when people say like, oh, I have a community, like, you know, I thought that was always like something that was like cliche or that it was like, it was something that people said, but I really feel like it because, I've acknowledged that it's real because for a long time in my life, like I could talk about stuff and no one had any idea what I was talking about, but y'all, when I talk to you all, you know what I'm talking about. So I totally agree that, I love this community. It's great. So anyways, hey, I'm getting all gushy. Hey, have a happy Saturday. Have a great rest of the weekend. I'll be back next Saturday. If you need me, ping me. Have a good night. Take care, folks. Be good to each other.